Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff, said today that the United States is running Venezuela. That seems to be the party line from the White House. I don't know what running Venezuela means. Do you?
Somewhat. The CIA is calling the shots as far as the Venezuelan government is concerned.
How do we know that?
And not many. If you understand what happened in places like Vietnam and the historical arena where the United States intervened and removed very weak governments and then installed pro-American governments, it's all done at the blueprint of the Central Intelligence Agency. So this is what I'm hearing happen. And I can't report it as fact, but it certainly makes sense. The CIA, which is heavily infiltrated the Venezuelan and Colombian governments, they know everything that's going on there, made a deal with the Venezuelan military. You step aside because we're coming in to get Maduro. And that's the only way on earth that the U.S. Special Forces could have snatched Maduro without any conflict at all. None. So the military just stepped aside and said, take them. So I assume from that, and the military is the only power that can run Venezuela right now. I mean, you can swear in Dulce 85 times a day. He didn't have any power. The military in Venezuela still has powers. They have the guns. So they made a deal with the CIA that they're going to basically allow America to stabilize the country, which is what the Venezuelan people want. So the gunfire that you're hearing and the conflicts that Robert just reported on, they're most likely criminal activity, right, like after the George Floyd riots here in the United States. We had criminal activity all over the place. It's the same thing in Venezuela. The gangs, particularly the drug gangs, are going out and they're trying to make money, like they always do.
There's score settling. There's going to be jockeying on and on. We get that. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's be fair about this. President Trump has said over and over again two things. One is it was law enforcement to get Maduro because of his narco-terrorism. And by the way, we want the oil. It's been this two-prong sort of statement of messages. The oil doesn't flow overnight. Chevron doesn't write checks for billions of dollars to go down and start investing in Venezuela overnight. When is it fair for the American people who are sitting around, when is it fair for them to judge whether this worked or not, whether the oil is flowing, whether it's a pro-American government? Is it a month, 2 months, 5 months, 8 months? What is it?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. All I can tell you is the oil doesn't matter. Venezuelan oil doesn't matter to the United States. We don't need it. It torqued off President Trump that Maduro was smuggling oil into places.
Hold on. You said it doesn't matter. We don't need it. We don't care. December 17th, President.
We don't need it.
Okay, President Trump. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. They threw our companies out, and we won it back. That sounds like he wants it a lot. Why doesn't it matter?
That's not really what it. It's more of a. What it is a stacking of grievance. The only justification as far as the American public is concerned to get rid of Maduro is the narco-terrorism designation of the group that he took massive amounts of money from, okay, the Cartel de los Solas. Once that happened, then President Trump has a legal authority to use military action against anybody associated with that cartel. So legally, you're perfectly right in what he did. You want to do a War Powers Act, then you got to do Panama. Then you got to do Panama. You got to do Bush the Elder. You're not going to win it. I think that we have to cut through a lot of this fog. This is a political story now. The story about Venezuela is gone. Maduro's out. There will be a temporary government installed there, probably with the military, Venezuelan military is okay, and then there'll be elections, as there should be. But for the United States, this is what gets me about the opposition to Trump coming from the Democratic Party. How are you going to solve the drug cartel problem that's been harming this nation for decades? What are you going to do? What is your proposal?
We've got two Democratic congressmen on next. We have two Democratic congressmen on next. We're going to ask them just that question. But I want to get back to this.
Yeah, they don't have a thing.
Okay, but we keep moving the goalposts here, Bill. At one point, President Trump's saying it's about oil. We're going to get the oil. There's going to be billions of dollars that it's going to be invested, and Americans are going to get repaid. You're now saying it's about the drugs. To me, there's yet another issue here, which is what country is next. And President Trump's been asked about Greenland. He keeps bringing up Greenland. And I'm wondering, do you think this explanation, as you said with the American public, of Maduro, horrible human being, absolutely true. Maduro, a criminal who's killed Americans, absolutely true. We're going to go in, we're going to arrest him, we're done. And your column sort of said that. Adios Maduro is how it laid things out. Going forward, the U.S. military action in Venezuela mirror the Iranian bombing. One and done. It all, the episode is over. Can this work in Greenland and Colombia and Tehran and all these other places?
Look, if you understand President Trump, you know he stacks grievance. That's what this oil thing is all about. Yes, Chavez and Maduro seized the oil and hurt the American oil companies. That's a grievance that Trump has. But it's not the primary grievance. He didn't want Maduro operating with impunity any longer. Now, Petro over in Colombia, more difficult, because Petro's got an army that's not going to sell him out. CIA knows that. So in order to move Petro out, which is why he defied Trump today, you'd have to send in ordnance. There would have to be a fight, where there was no fight in Venezuela. Okay. First step is the Justice Department designating Petro as a narco-terrorist. That has not been done yet. If it's done, then you start. Greenland. So earlier this evening, I was watching CNN, which I do to get a different point of view, and they're hysterical about Greenland. I mean, hysterical, okay? Oh, the Greenland, Greenland. Here's what Greenland's all about, and I know this because I sat in a meeting with President Trump to discuss Greenland. President Trump wants military bases in Greenland, U.S. Air Force and Navy. He wants it to blunt the Arctic expeditions of Putin and China, which are actively underway. That's what he wants. His negotiating ploy is to create chaos in Copenhagen, which he is doing, and CNN is helping him do that. We're not going to take over Greenland. I heard about, 8 months ago, we were taking over Canada, Leland. Remember that? We're going to take it over? I don't think that's happened. Okay? So all of this is what Trump does. He creates chaos, and then he gets his deal. We need, the United States, military bases in Greenland. I suspect we will get them. All right? That's what it's all about. I'm sorry the CNN viewers are so upset. I really am. And they bring on some Danish guy with a pipe and a beard. Oh, the story, it's like, this is a cartoon. Let's live in the real world.
Okay, so we're in the real world now that the U.S. is running Venezuela. The Venezuelans and the military there has a say in this, right? And it's one thing to go snatch and grab one person. Should the American public expect that if the new regime or the existing regime that has been left, because we learned from Iraq that taking the entire country and dismantling it doesn't work, doesn't do what Trump and Stephen Miller want, that it's not going to be this surgical one and done, no casualties, that perhaps there might have to be American boots on the ground. That means American casualties. That means fighting. That means that it's not over in 24 hours and we're all moving on.
I don't think that will happen. I don't think, and I'll take heavy odds that it won't. I'll give you a touchdown if you want. I don't think that's ever going to happen. The Venezuelan people don't like Maduro. They're happy. They're happy they can make some money now. Trump will treat them well, okay? They'll have elections maybe a year, from now. In the meantime, there'll be some people appointed. Military will go along with it. The story will kind of die. And the American people don't really care about this one way or the other, except the people who are emotionally attached to the narcotics issue, as I am. One more thing about Donald Trump. The guy is a realistic person, okay? That's number one. He knows the American public will not support a military venture into Greenland. They won't. So if Donald Trump does that, he's giving the midterm election, he's handing it to the Democratic Party. Here, you take both houses of Congress. Because most Americans don't want.
Right.
Right?
No,
Am I right? They don't want it.
I think you've made the point. Just ask George H.W. Bush what the American people care about. Bill, we got to run. Thank you as always for the perspective.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.